Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, The Lens of Truth with me, Ave Florentino, and for today's video, a charming 3D action platformer came out in 2023 at the end of November, and it was only released in Japan, and this is one of my favorite type of platformers because it goes back to the feeling of platformers in the Nintendo 64 and GameCube era. And with the rumors of a Nintendo Direct happening in February, this is one of those games that hopefully has a chance to get localized outside of Japan. And I wanted to talk about this game because it's super fun, and it's one of those type of games that the Switch needs at the end of its life cycle. But before we get started, if you're new to the channel, consider hitting the like button, ring the bell, and leave a comment. So, let's get to it. So this is a long title for this game. It's called Otogi Katsugeki Mameda no Bakeru, Oracle Saitarou no Sainan, but I will be just calling it Bakeru.
Otogi Katsugeki Mameda no Bakeru, Oracle Saitarou no Sainan.
And this is by a company called Goodfeel, which you are familiar with because they've done a lot of games for Nintendo, including Yoshi's Woolly World for the Wii U and the Nintendo 3DS, Kirby's Epic Yarn, one of my favorites, and Wario Land Shake It for the Wii. As soon as I heard this game was coming out for the Switch, only in Japan, the only way I was able to get it was through Play Asia. And it was only around $40. There is a demo that you can download on the Nintendo eShop if you have a Japan account. And you can also buy it digitally that way as well. And at its core, this is a 3D action game. It features a tanuki boy named Bakeru who disguises himself as a human. He uses a drumstick-like weapon to fight a festival army and many cute and fantastical foes across loosely based Japanese settings that are very colorful and stylized. When this game was first shown off in one of the trailers, I immediately thought it looked like one of my all-time favorite childhood games on the N64 and a Super Nintendo game by the name of Goemon Mystical Ninja. And if you've never played these games, they have a distinct Japanese feel, the aesthetic, the music, and one of my earliest memories with this series was The Legend of Mystical Ninja for the SNES, and it was just one of those where I know I was very young, so I didn't get to play it as much, but I did see my brother and my cousin play this. There was just something about the large sprites, the colorful characters, they were adorable, and it was a cool Japanese setting, and I just loved the combat, the expressions on their face. It was just something that I always wanted to play, but I actually never had a chance to play it after that. It was just one of those games that was hard to find, but it just really stuck with me. But the game that I have the most nostalgia for is the 3D version of Mystical Ninja starring Goemon for the Nintendo 64. And this series is made by Konami. And not only the SNES, but the N64 is one of those times in my childhood where I really got into gaming. And this series just made me love video games in general. And if you go online and search this game, I'm not the only one who thought this way. And I was actually so glad that a lot of people who have played the Goemon series knew exactly what the vibes were giving with this game. And when you see the gameplay and even the story and music, it does bring back that type of gameplay loop that you would find back in that era of the PS1, the Nintendo 64, where there was so many platformers with so much variety. And it's great to see these type of obscure type of titles that are usually sleeper hits with a lower budget, along with all of these AAA games as well. So going back to Mameda no Bakeru, although I don't speak the Japanese language, this is actually a very easy game to play even if you don't understand it. The cutscenes look really nice, with a girl being chased by some type of a demon, and you're being rescued by Bakeru, who turned into a boy. When we get right into the gameplay, there is an overworld map, and you get to see the locations that you'll be able to travel to. And that brings us to our first jumping off point, is the visuals and art style. When I tell you that this game is pretty to look at, with the stylized textures that you'll see in the grass, the water, while you're climbing, jumping, you'll see that in the mountain sections as well. The character designs, the cutscenes, this fits the Nintendo Switch very well. There's just such a variety in the gameplay loop that keeps things fresh. For example, you'll be jumping, platforming, attacking with your drumsticks, using the L and R button to create combos, and even using a drum to reflect enemy projectiles. So there's a variety in order to attack your foes and tackle their defenses. And although this game is very pretty to look at, there is some frame rate drops and dips when there's a lot of things going on. And I've noticed it a lot, and hopefully that gets ironed out if the rumor is true that this game will be localized and hopefully with an English voiceover as well. And not only does Bakeru have some cool attacks, but he also has some transformations that will help him traverse the world. For example, you'll be given a transformation where you go into small, tight spaces where you're very tiny and you won't be able to attack, but you're very quick and you're able to do a flutter jump to get across large gaps. You'll be collecting capsules with lots of items inside, lots of collectibles around the areas, so you'll be searching every nook and cranny of the levels. And although I don't know exactly what will happen if you collect all of them, it's still fun looking around and finding these surprises. You're also able to buy consumables in order to heal yourself, make yourself stronger, things like defenses. And what makes this game even more interesting are the in-between sections that are super unexpected. For example, you'll be able to use a robot in these kaiju battles, these large robot boss fights that are super fun, and I just wish there was more of them. And again, going back to the Goemon series on the N64, there were also some robot stages where you fight bosses, these large bosses, as you're punching them, using rollerblades in this huge robot where you're going across the field, skating, hitting projectiles, trying to dodge incoming hazards. So this is just an unexpected yet welcome variety to the normal gameplay, where it's mainly the platforming sections and these in-between surprises. You'll also be able to use this robot dog where you'll be taking part in races and even in some shoot 'em up style stages as well. And again, I just wish there was more of them, but the fact that they're here, it's very random. But this is just the exact excitement that these type of games have. The unexpected, the variety, and just the pure fun. And in order to progress and complete the stages, you'll see these 3 colorful lanterns across the stages. Some of them are hidden. All you do is destroy them, and at the very end, you'll hit the drum to complete the stage. And in between that gameplay loop, you'll be platforming, doing some very light puzzles, and defeating enemies. It's very simple, but it gets to the point. And again, as for the music, it's very catchy. It does have that Japanese style. And although I wish there was a little bit more variety in every stage, and I wish that it didn't loop as quickly as it does have that feeling of the N64 era and the Goemon series in general, because that game also had some cool music with some catchy lyrics that I still to this day sometimes just go on YouTube and hear it because it was that catchy and memorable.
やっ悪最大三やれ
So to conclude this video, what do you guys think of this action platformer that seemed to come out of nowhere? At least for us in the West. I know it was shown off in a Nintendo Direct in Japan, and that Zippo rumor that good feel game will be getting localized. Hopefully it's this one. That is the rumor. And if you have nostalgia for these type of games, especially the Goemon series, comment down in the section below if you're excited for this type of a game and if you want it to be localized. So thank you so much for watching, and hit that like button, ring the bell, leave a comment if you enjoyed this content. See you later. Bye-bye.
悪最大三